You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do a full, spoiled rotten review of X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, this should be interesting because my spoiler-free review, I had a hard time not saying anything related to the plot because there was a lot more involved in this movie than the trailers even show. However, if you like to completely ruin stuff for yourself, you found the right place because I'm going to tell you about the whole damn movie. Well, maybe not the whole movie, but some of the meaty parts that, you know, if you don't care about being spoiled, then that's fine. Very, very good movie. Probably, definitely up there with X2, if not better. Obviously, in my opinion at this point, X2, First Class, and this movie are the top amongst the X-Men movies, including if you include the Wolverine origin movies as well. Well, Origins and then the Wolverine. So basically, Sentinels are running the world. Whatever mutants are out there, there's not much left. Humans who actually sided with the mutants at one point, completely gone. They show like almost like a concentration camp of two lines of people marching. One line had humans, and then the other line had mutants, and you can tell the difference because the mutants have like a scar, like a branded M above their eye. So very, very, very dark scene. Very, very dark opening. Very gloomy. Not what we've seen in an X-Men movie before. So you guys all know the opening. If you've seen the trailers and you've seen the special preview where they show the opening of the movie, Sentinels find some of the last X-Men or some of the last mutants. They make it appear that the mutants are done, and whatever you see here is what's left. So they find them, and they're no match. They're no match. I mean, these Sentinels have adopted a form and have adopted a way of fighting that makes them impossible to beat. So basically, what the X-Men have been doing is they've been flashing back in time every couple of days, every time the Sentinels find them. They have Warpath who can scout them out, lets them know ahead of time, lets the group know ahead of time that they've been found. Then Kitty Pryde will take Bishop and, you know, take his mind back a couple of days to warn the group of the coming attack, and then they leave. So that's pretty much how they've been avoiding the Sentinels. They just jump back 2 days into the past and leave wherever they are and give themselves 2 days to find a new location. That way when the Sentinels get to the old one, they're gone. But it's gotten to a point where they can't do that anymore. You know there's no way fighting them. They can't run forever. So Charles initially wants to go back and try and change the past. And initially, Wolverine, obviously, we all know is the one to jump back. So, not to give, you know, because I'm literally like highlighting the first part of the movie, but the goal here is to get Professor X and Magneto back together to stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask, who created the Sentinels, because if she kills them, she gets captured and they use her DNA, her brain tissue, and her bone marrow to implement into the Sentinels, which gives them that ability to adapt. Apparently, Mystique, while she may be not the most powerful mutant in the world, she's got some excellent abilities. I mean, in terms of like stealth and assassin, she's like top notch. But apparently, when you combine some elements of her body and her DNA and just her, you know, her life force, I guess, so to speak, for lack of a better term, they make for a very, very compelling Sentinel, you know, basically. Now, to break Magneto out, they use Quicksilver. Quicksilver, as much as I don't like how he looks, and I don't like how he looks, even in the movie, man, his parts of the movie were, number one, they were excellent, and number two, you know, if you don't like how he looks, don't worry about it because he's not in the whole damn movie. He's pretty much in 15 minutes of the movie where he does his thing and boom, he's out. So he helps get Magneto out. Magneto and Charles get back together, you know, and they have their arguments, stuff like that. But meanwhile, you know, Wolverine is trying to play the guide here, which is not something he's comfortable with. So but eventually he gets them to the point where you think they're about to get this done, and in the future, Kitty Pryde is maintaining this. I'm going to use a Pacific term here, a Pacific Rim term. Excuse me. She maintains the rift between Wolverine and his body or his entity being in the past. But all the time while she's doing that, the Sentinels are coming now. Now they found them, and now they can't move like they did before because she's trying to maintain Wolverine long enough to hold this whole thing together. Now, if you notice, I've jumped quite considerably into the further into the movie because there are some things I really don't want to ruin for you guys. That you really got to experience this movie. So there's certain things I'm just not dropping on you. So because it's just you got to see it. So while the other X-Men are fighting off the Sentinels valiantly, but at the demise of, I would say, most of them. Actually, yeah. Magneto decides to go rogue. He sees it as an opportunity to really enforce his will on humanity. He gains control of the Sentinels, like you see in the commercial. And the way he does that, because they're actually not made of metal. They're made of some sort of alloy that's not metallic. Bolivar gets into the whole detail about that in the movie at some point, but I forgot what he called it. So he basically lifts up RFK Stadium at the time, and he drops it right around the White House. He has Sentinels guarding the top of the stadium for any authorities getting in. The only two mutants left to fight are Wolverine and Beast, and they try to do their thing, but Wolverine has his bone claws at this point, so he can't cut through them. He can cut through them, but not like he would if it was adamantium. Like, at one point, his claw got caught in one of the revolving guns the Sentinels have, and had he tried to cut that, he would have broke his bone off. So you can see that having his metal claws are just, he misses that. Probably in one of the most iconic scenes in comic history, but well, not comic history, but one of the most iconic scenes in comic history, reversed. Instead of extracting metal from Wolverine like he did in the comic, Magneto puts metal in his body. He takes like one of these big cinder blocks that have metal bars sticking out, and he takes the metal bars, almost like thick metal bars, and he just like stretches it, and he puts it inside Wolverine through his body, through his arms, through his legs, through his chest. I mean, the only thing keeping Wolverine alive at this point is his healing factor. Then, because of the weight of the cinder block, he sends Wolverine flying in the air and into a river where he sinks to the bottom and he's drowning. All the time, Professor X is on the floor. He's looks like he's injured again, poor guy. And at this point, Mystique kind of turns on. I don't want to say turns on Magneto because they're not actually a team in this movie, but she has a different change. She has a change of heart. Turns on Magneto, removes his helmet. Professor X grabs control of him. She has an opportunity to kill Trask, and she changes her mind. At which point, in the future, finally at that point, now the decision is made, now that it's done, Kitty Pryde, Wolverine successfully go back in time. Not to the 1950s, but they get out of the situation. That kind of brings whichever X-Men were lost back. They don't show all that. So because this is a spoiler review, I am going to give away the end, and I am going to give away the credit scene. Basically, Wolverine wakes up in Professor X mansion. We don't know at what point in the future. I'm going to say the 80s or the 90s or something like that. I don't know. There's some stuff they put in there that was really futuristic. So I'm going to say the future, maybe around the time the war was supposed to take place with the Sentinels. And he sees all the X-Men. He sees Storm, Iceman, Rogue. So she did make a small cameo, but she didn't have the part that they were supposed to put in the movie. Obviously, God, how could I forget his name now? The metal guy, Colossus. There it goes. He sees all the X-Men. They're there. They're back. Everybody's okay. You don't see Magneto. You don't see Mystique. But then as he makes his way to Professor X's office, you see none other than Jean Grey and Cyclops. So I don't know if that was ever leaked on the internet. I know that they were doing a good job of keeping it hush hush. And when I saw them, I was very happy. I wasn't so shocked because for me it made sense for Bryan Singer to bring those two back in a cameo, but keep it on the down low, not let anybody know. So they are back. So the movie ends with Professor X telling Wolverine, "You're finally back." Knowing about his journey, and he says, "Well, you have a lot to catch up on. Let's see what Let's talk about what you've missed." And then they go back to where Wolverine was in the water drowning, and you see him get picked up. A cop looks at a man and says, "What do you want to do with him, Mr. Stryker or Captain Stryker, wherever his rank is at the time?" And Stryker says, "I'll take him with me." But when Stryker turns around and they show his face in the camera, he smiles, and you see Mystique's eye glow gold, and that's how it ends. Then at the end credit scene, you see they're about 4,000 years into the past, around the time pyramids were built. Obviously, you see a man sitting there building a pyramid with his mind, okay, while all these people are worshiping him, and they're saying this word I can't pronounce, and I guess it's in Egypt, and you just see him there. He's got Apocalypse's complexion. Not Apocalypse. I mean, it's Apocalypse, but it's not the Apocalypse you see in the comic. It's the Apocalypse that, if you understand the story, from back in the day when he was essentially like the first mutant that has all the powers in the world, and he's being worshipped by these Egyptians or whatever race they are, because there's more pyramids that were built that were not Egyptian pyramids, and they're worshiping him, and they show him building this, and then that's it. That's how it ends. So, very good movie. And just a reminder, this was a spoiler review, so I did give away a lot of spoiled stuff. I did spoil a lot of things, but there are some things I did not tell you guys that you will like when you see it, and that's it. It was a great movie. I highly suggest you go see it. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.